Hello and welcome. This is Kathleen Lovito, and I'll be your host for today's webinar entitled Understanding the Widow's Tax. Joining me today is Jenny Campbell, Team Leader of Member Benefits, and Amy Morato, Member Benefits Representative from AAFMAA. We conclude this presentation with a question and answer series. So if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to enter them into the question bar on your screen. AAFMAA stands for American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association and is a longest-standing not-for-profit association that empowers military families with affordable financial solutions. AAFMAA focuses exclusively on the needs of military families and works to provide innovative, personalized, and lifestyle-appropriate financial solutions. This presentation is educational. It is for general information only and is not specific investment, legal, or tax advice for any of you individually. Do not rely on this presentation alone to guide your life insurance decisions. Since each individual situation is unique, the life insurance that benefits you the most will not necessarily be the same as another current or former service member. For individual advice, please contact us directly. We produce this webinar series in-house with our own professional staff as a service to our members and to help them better understand the resources available to them. I'll now go ahead and turn it over to Jenny and Amy to begin the presentation.
We've been getting a lot of calls from our members and their spouses who are concerned about the widow's tax and how it will affect benefits for their spouse if they pass away. Jenny, should they be concerned about a negative impact on surviving spouse benefits?
Yeah, so there's recently been a lot of press surrounding military survivor benefits dubbed the widow's tax. The widow's tax is a label given to a provision in the law affecting military spouses who receive monthly survivor benefits from both the Survivor Benefit Plan, or SBP, and Dependency Indemnity Compensation, or DIC. While AAFMAA does not take a position on this issue, we are doing this webinar to clarify the facts on these benefits and that offset.
Can you explain to some of our listeners what SBP and DIC are and how they work?
Sure. SBP, or Survivor Benefit Plan, is a program a military retiree enrolls and pays into through their retired pay. When the retiree passes away, a monthly annuity is paid to that spouse. The amount of this annuity is 55% of the gross retirement amount or a lesser amount depending on what the retiree elects. A retiree can opt out of the SBP program only with their spouse's consent. And military retired pay and the SBP annuity are paid by Defense Finance and Accounting Service, otherwise known as DFAS.
Can a service member or veteran do anything to guarantee their spouse receives DIC?
No. DIC, or Dependency Indemnity Compensation, on the other hand, is a tax-free monthly benefit awarded by the VA. DIC is paid only to an eligible spouse of a service member or veteran whose death resulted from service-connected injury or disease.
So why are surviving spouses being taxed when they receive both SBP and DIC?
Well, the widow's tax is not actually a tax. What happens is that an offset occurs when a surviving spouse is receiving SBP and then is also awarded DIC. When this happens, the law requires that DFAS deduct the amount of DIC received from the SBP amount and pay only the remainder as the SBP annuity.
But that sounds like the spouse's SBP is, in fact, being reduced.
So this is an offset and does not mean the spouse receives less compensation than he or she would have with just SBP. Instead, the spouse is getting equal to or more than they would have with SBP. So if DIC is less than the SBP annuity amount, the widow receives the full SBP amount, with $1,319 of that being DIC, because DIC is $1,319. If DIC is greater than the SBP, the widow gets $1,319 alone, and the SBP stops. Therefore, in either scenario, the spouse gets equal to or greater compensation than if he or she would if only receiving SBP. The spouse's total compensation is never reduced if they receive DIC in addition to that SBP. And you can see on this chart also in the far right block, an additional payment of $318 called SSIA. I'll explain more about this additional payment shortly. And you can see here, this shows a breakdown of a surviving spouse who would be receiving just SBP in the amount. The example here is $3,616 a month. If they were only getting DIC and no SBP, then DIC is $1,319. That's a fixed amount for everyone. And then the far right block shows someone who is receiving both the SBP amount, in this example, the $3,616, and is awarded DIC, what that would look like total that they would get. And you can see here they would get a total of $3,934 total compensation, with $1,319 of that being non-taxable income.
Are there any other benefits to getting DIC in addition to SBP?
That's a great question. So there is a tax benefit with DIC. DIC is tax-free, whereas the SBP annuity is taxed.
That's a great explanation. Thank you, Jenny. How soon after the retiree passes away can a spouse apply for DIC?
So a spouse receiving SBP should apply as soon as possible, actually. A spouse's timely and successful application for a DIC will see a partial or full refund of SBP premiums. Remember, the retiree was paying into SBP with pre-tax dollars from his or her retired pay. So the DIC application needs to be received by the VA within 1 year of the retiree's death for this refund of premiums to happen. If the SBP annuity is greater than DIC, DFAS will calculate a partial refund based on premiums paid that reduced the SBP amount because of the offset. If the SBP annuity is less than DIC, less than $1,319 a month, then DFAS will refund all eligible premiums paid into SBP during the service member's retirement.
So DFAS pays a refund of SBP premiums to the surviving spouse if the spouse applies for DIC within 1 year of the service member's death. Are there any other benefits for SBP annuitants?
In an earlier slide, I'd mentioned SSIA, that $318 a month extra payment. So spouses receiving both SBP and DIC also receive an additional monthly benefit called SSIA, or Special Survivor Indemnity Allowance. This is a permanent benefit with an annual cost of living adjustment increase. It currently amounts to $318 a month as of 2019.
So it sounds like there are advantages for a spouse receiving SBP who is then awarded DIC. In fact, there are tax benefits with DIC, the possibility of reimbursement of SBP premiums, and an extra monthly payment of $318 from DFAS called SSIA.
Yes, that's all true.
Thanks, Jenny. I hope this clears up some of the confusion on the SBP DIC offset for our listeners.
You're very welcome. AAFMAA Member Benefits is here to answer any questions on this and other issues affecting our military and veterans. We strive to be a resource to our members and their families, particularly when it comes to military and government benefits and entitlements. All right, so do we have any questions from our listeners today?
Let's take a look. One listener wrote in, I know I'm paying into SBP with my retired pay, but is there somewhere I can find exactly how much my wife will be getting when I die?
That's a great question. So all of your SBP information can be found on your retiree account statement from DFAS. This is the statement that shows a breakdown of your military retired pay, the gross amount you're receiving, and what you're paying in taxes, etc. You should get a statement each year by mail for tax purposes, and you can also access your retiree account statement at any time on your MyPay online account. So there's a section on this statement that will show you who your SBP beneficiary is, the monthly premiums you're paying, and how much your beneficiary will receive as a monthly annuity after you pass away.
That's great. Here's another question from a viewer. If my wife gets reimbursed some or all of the premiums I paid for SBP out of my retirement, what does this reimbursement look like?
So your wife will be reimbursed a lump sum by DFAS, and whatever DFAS calculates that reimbursement to be. Be aware, though, that this payment is taxable as income.
Oh, that's good to know. Another question reads, my ex-wife will get my SBP when I die. I've remarried. If my death is service-connected, who will get the DIC?
So DIC goes to the current spouse of the veteran. It would not go to the ex-wife. And in this case, because the ex-wife is getting SBP and the current wife, if she was awarded DIC, if the death is service-connected, there's going to be no offset. Okay, that's all the time we have left for today. For more information, we encourage you to visit our Learning Hub on the AAFMAA website.
Great. We'll go ahead and break here for now. You can always reach us whenever you need to. Please don't hesitate to ask or help. We do this every day for our military community, and it is our pleasure. You can always register for future webinars and review past webinars at afma.com/webinars. If you found this information useful, we encourage you to please share it with your friends and family. Our membership grows stronger every year because you introduce those in your military community to AAFMAA. Thank you again for listening. We look forward to our next opportunity to assist you.